Sunday mornings from 11 to 12 for Destination Retirement with Robert Kuhn, sponsored by Kuhn Capital Partners in Oak Brook.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
They're statements he's made before, but in case you thought he was having second thoughts, well, here he is.
Next year is projected to be the largest tax refund season ever, and we're going to be giving back refunds out of the tariffs because we've taken in literally trillions of dollars, and we're going to be giving a nice dividend to the people, in addition to reducing debt. As you know, I inherited a lot of debt, but it's peanuts compared to the kind of numbers we're talking about. So we're going to be making a dividend to the people, and additionally, we're going to be able to reduce debt. And as time goes by, over the next 2, 3, 4 years, those numbers are going to go up. And I believe that at some point in the not too distant future, you won't even have income tax to pay, because the money we're taking in is so great, it's so enormous, that you're not going to have income tax to pay. Whether you get rid of it or just keep it around for fun or have it really low, much lower than it is now, but you won't be paying income tax.
Yeah, just keep it around for fun. It's a gas, that income tax. Well, gosh, I remember in the spring it was going to be a Doge dividend check, and then the $2 trillion in spending cuts didn't actually happen. And now we're talking about the tax revenue generated by tariffs being sufficient not only for a dividend check, not only for debt reduction, but also to eliminate the income tax. Boy, those are some magical tariffs. Of course, none of that, well, the dividend checks is certainly possible. I don't know if it's judicious. Well, I do know if it's judicious. It's not. But, I mean, that's just fairy tale stuff. That's fairy tale stuff. J.D. Vance, also in that cabinet meeting, he explained why there is this affordability crunch, sort of channeling Kevin Hassett in part, which was the good part. The other stuff is more dubious.
Why did homes get so unaffordable? Because we had 20 million illegal aliens in this country taking homes that ought by right to go to American citizens. Why did tax bills get so unaffordable? Because Democrats were raising taxes while congressional Republicans under the president's leadership were now cutting taxes. Why did food get so expensive? Because we printed trillions of dollars and threw it into green scams that made our agricultural economy suffer while Americans were paying higher prices for food. On every single one of those issues, Mr. President, I think we've made incredible progress. But it would be preposterous to fix every problem caused over the last 4 years in just 10 months. I think that we've done incredibly good.
Well, let's get an economist's perspective on those statements. Stephen Moore, economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again, co-authored with Art Laffer. Steve, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan, good to be with you. By the way, I believe in fairy tales.
Do you? So the taxes thrown off by tariffs can cover $2.4 million in income tax revenue the federal government takes in, plus a dividend check, plus debt reduction. Really?
Well, Art Laffer and I have a piece, it'll be in the Wall Street Journal tomorrow, where we basically say that we could actually use tariff revenue to reduce not necessarily the income tax, but the payroll tax, which is paid by every worker on the first dollar that you earn. And, this is a point that we made to Trump a couple of weeks ago, which is, don't give people a rebate check, cut their payroll taxes, give them an incentive to work more, give an incentive to employers to hire more, because the payroll tax is a terrible tax and it affects everyone. So, I mean, it is true we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars of tariff revenue. Whether you like tariffs or not, they do generate revenue for the federal fisc. And you can use that revenue to offset other taxes. Now, could you eliminate entirely the income tax? Well, Dan, a little history lesson here for you, my friend. Before 1915, we never had an income tax in this country.
I know.
And,
I'm aware.
And you know this, and tariffs paid for most of the functions of government. Of course, government has exploded in its power and growth over that period of time. But it is a good goal that Trump has to say, hey, we could use tariffs and other revenues and get rid of the income tax. I mean, folks, can you imagine how supercharged our economy would be if we were the one country in the world that didn't have an income tax?
Look, I'm all for it. Obviously, I'm all for it in principle. Yeah. But the problem with this crowd is they're not really serious about addressing the spending side. So if you wanted to reduce the revenue coming into the government, right. when I say 2.4 trillion, I'm just talking about from their perspective, which is always, how do you pay for it? How do you replace this revenue? Yeah. Don't replace the revenue. That's the point. Shrink the government. Starve the beast.
In Washington. We never asked the question, quote, how do you pay for it? Because they don't pay for anything in Washington.
Well, I know, but it'd be fine. I mean, it'd be fine if it seized up the system such that they had to make adult decisions about what the government should do and shouldn't do. But they never quite want to take that step to force that conversation, to set that goal. Set a goal on the spending side, and I don't just mean Doge or the Doge principles will survive, even though Doge's charter, even though Doge has been disbanded. So I mean that was an experiment in spending restraint that talk about under delivering, and you never want to under deliver.
Well, but look, I mean, we saved about $200 billion, and that's a lot of money, and I think we shouldn't have discontinued it. But I think my point would be, incidentally, if you want to know how hard it is to cut government spending in Washington, these fools, these nincompoops, are talking about shutting down the government again, to make sure that illegal immigrants get free health care.
Yeah. So, right.
You can't make yourself up. I mean,
right. But of course, the point to that is to say you are going to get that from that side no matter what you do. So go big. And I'm not talking about the big, beautiful bill and all that spending. I mean, go big in terms of maximizing tax relief and minimizing revenue into the government's coffer. So you're forced to make real reductions in the size and scope of government and pass that. And then because they're going to scream the same screams regardless of what you do.
Well, and of course, Republicans made these teeny-weeny little minuscule cuts in the budget this year in the budget negotiations. People are going to die. Oh my God, they're going to kill hundreds of thousands of people.
So they're going to say that no matter what you do. They're going to say that if you reduce the rate of spending 1 percentage point less than they want to increase it.
Yeah, you're cruel and unusual.
Yes.
But if you want to see the impact of lowering tax rates, though, I mean, we've talked about this so many times on your show, but it bears repeating. Just look at the difference between what's happening in states like Florida and Texas versus states like Illinois and New York, where Illinois and New York are just bleeding people. All the capital is leaving. All the rich people are leaving. They're going to Texas and Florida. Well, guess what? Income tax rate is in Texas and Florida. Oh, it's zero. Gee, maybe people really do move to places where taxes are lower.
Well, yesterday's special election in Tennessee, yes, the Republican won, but it wasn't nearly as resounding as it should have been, given the historical voting patterns in that district. And so what do you take away from that, and what's sort of the level of concern within the inner circle and Trump world, given that it seems like that quote unquote affordability issue is still the dominant issue?
I have to say I'm kind of perplexed by this, because all of the data, we've been running this data, and it shows pretty clearly and incontrovertibly that people's incomes are up more this year than the overall rate of inflation. In other words, people have more after tax and after inflation income now than they did a year ago. And yet people, every poll is showing this. I just saw this one this morning. People, oh my God, I can't afford anything anymore. And what's really doubly perplexing about this, because the voting patterns show this too. Republicans got their clocks handed to them back in November's elections in states like Virginia and New Jersey and New York, because people are angry about prices. And all I can say about this, folks, if you're angry about prices, you should be, but 88% of that increase in the prices that you're angry about happened under Joe Biden. And inflation has actually come down. Now, prices have not come down, Dan, but the rate of increase of prices has come down from, 6-7% to less than 3%. But it's still, I don't get it why people are so angry and why they're blaming Trump for the problems that were really created under Biden. But that's politics for you.
No, I understand, but so then what are what is the approach? Either the eggheads like you have to sit with the messaging gurus to come up with a response to the affordability crisis. I thought Hassett gave a pretty succinct answer a couple of weeks ago that, as I mentioned, J.D. Vance sort of channeled there. Yeah. Americans lost $3,000 worth of purchasing power under Biden. They've got about $1,200 back, so there's $1,800 to go, and from there, and we expect some more of that to be restored next year. That seems to me as succinct a explanation of where we've come from and where we're going, as I've heard.
Yeah, that's what we've been saying at Unleash Prosperity almost every morning. Exactly that, and that's where J.D. Vance got those numbers, and they happen to be true. But I know people are just financially stressed out. Part of the problem is that young people really cannot afford housing. And the other thing that's going exploding in cost that people are really angry about is healthcare costs. Gee, how could we be complaining about healthcare costs? I thought 15 years ago we passed the Affordable Care Act. I thought healthcare costs were going to come down if the government played a bigger role in healthcare. And I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, and what's the last best handle you have on what Trump and congressional Republicans will do on extending those subsidies before a year's out?
What they'll do about what?
The extending the Obamacare subsidies for the $125,000 to $500,000 cohort before the year's out.
Well, don't you understand? People are going to die.
I understand.
We'll die if we cut the subsidies. I mean, it is so absurd. I mean, everyone knows this, that those subsidies, those extra subsidies. By the way, you can make. Are you sitting down, Dan? You can make $500,000 a year and get government Obamacare subsidies.
No, I know. We've talked about it a lot too.
How crazy is that? Are you millionaires free health care? I mean, it's the stupidest thing. You just can't make this stuff up, and it makes you so angry. Look,
it's the stupidest. It's the stupidest thing right up until Republicans extend them.
Exactly, and
right?
They're likely to do that because we're not mean people. We'll give millionaires free health care. I mean, my God, we're moving towards a system where the government's going to run the whole healthcare system, and it is going to bankrupt the country. And by the way, you'll get crappy health care if the government is running it too, folks. You don't want to go down that road.
You're right. We'll do everything but make an argument.
I'm saying to you, Dan, is that look, I think based on history, Republicans will fold like a cheap tent.
But if they do, in spite of that, and in spite of the specter of another temporary pause for non-essential employees, you still think because of the tax relief that will take effect, that the first half of next year will see robust GDP growth? Yeah,
I do. I think we're going to see really strong growth next year, partly because Trump is right that a lot of people did not get their tax cut this year from the big beautiful bill. They're going to get it in their. They're going to see it in their less money withheld from their paychecks. It's going to be like a pay raise everyone's going to get next year. So that, among many other factors. And look, Trump is right. We are importing hundreds. He says trillions, but I think it's close to hundreds of billions. But that's a lot of money that's coming in from abroad, invested here. That creates jobs. That creates higher incomes. We've become like a magnet for capital. So I'm very bullish on the U.S. economy for next year. Cheer up, folks. Put a smile on your face. This is a great economy. It really is. I mean, business conditions are good. There's 7 million job openings. That's the other thing. Young people are sitting there pouting, oh, my gosh, my income's... Get a job. How about getting a job? We had something in the hotline the other day that a record low number of males between the ages of 16 and 30 are working. Well, guess what? How are you going to make income? Are you going to live on the dole? You got to get a job if you're going to prosper in life.
No, they're going to gamble on sports on their apps, and that's how they're going to make it. Everybody's going to be a professional gambler.
I confess, I'm guilty of that myself. I do a lot of that, but I do have a job.
Yes. All right, we'll end on that high note. Steve Moore is employed. Economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity, again, co-authored with Art Laffer. Steve, thank you as always.
Okay, Dan, have a great week. Take care.
You too. And Steve joined us in the Turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The biggest time of the year for stores is during the Christmas season. And if you deal in collector coins, the main source for inventory is from people like you. We want to have our showcases fully stocked before Christmas. Last Christmas, gold was the highest ever recorded in its 5,000-year run. We don't always know if precious metals will go up or down.